Welcome to Trending Update USA. This is Steffan and I am bringing you the latest story from Melbourne, where Coco Gauff began her Australian Open journey with a performance that perfectly captured her evolution as one of the most composed and adaptable players in women's tennis, overcoming early serve wobbles to secure a hard-earned opening round victory that sent a clear message to the rest of the field. Under the intense Australian summer sun and the unmistakable buzz that surrounds the first Grand Slam of the season, Gauff stepped onto the court carrying both expectation and ambition, knowing that every match at this stage of the tournament can shape the narrative of the weeks to come. From the very first game, it was evident that the opening round would not be a simple cruise for the American star. Her serve, typically a reliable foundation of her game, struggled to find rhythm. Double faults appeared earlier than expected, and her first serve percentage lagged well below her usual standards. The timing on her toss seemed slightly off, and her opponent immediately sensed an opportunity to apply pressure. In the early rallies, Gauff was forced to work harder than planned, engaging in long exchanges rather than collecting quick points behind her serve. Despite these early difficulties, what stood out was Gauff's refusal to show panic. Her body language remained calm, her focus steady, and her movement sharp. She leaned heavily on her speed and court coverage, tracking down balls that would have been winners against many players. Each defensive retrieval seemed to buy her more time to settle into the match, and with every extended rally, she slowly began to find her footing. While the serve continued to wobble, her ground strokes started to gain depth and consistency, especially off the backhand wing. The opening set unfolded as a test of patience and mental resilience. Gauff faced pressure in several service games, often having to dig herself out of uncomfortable situations. Break points came and went, and the tension in the stadium grew with each missed opportunity. Her opponent played with confidence, sensing that this was a rare chance to unsettle one of the tournament favorites early. The rallies were competitive, physical, and demanding, forcing Gauff to rely on her conditioning and tactical awareness. As the set progressed, Gauff began making subtle but important adjustments. She varied her serve placement, aiming more toward the body to reduce the impact of aggressive returns. She also started stepping into the court on second serves, signaling a shift in mindset from cautious to assertive. On return games, she positioned herself slightly closer to the baseline, taking time away and applying more consistent pressure. These changes did not immediately translate into dominance, but they gradually tilted the balance in her favor. One of the defining moments of the set came during a lengthy service game where Gauff faced multiple break points. Each time, she responded with courage, opting for placement and spin rather than sheer power. A well-timed wide serve, followed by a controlled forehand, helped her escape danger and drew appreciative applause from the crowd. That hold appeared to unlock something mentally, as her confidence visibly grew and her shot selection became more decisive. By the latter stages of the first set, the difference in intensity was clear. Gauff's movement sharpened, her footwork improved, and her anticipation allowed her to read her opponent's patterns more effectively. The serve, while still not flawless, showed signs of improvement, landing with better consistency and allowing her to take control of the point earlier. When the set reached its crucial moments, Gauff raised her level, capitalizing on a slight dip from her opponent to close it out with authority. The conclusion of the first set felt like a turning point. Gauff's quiet fist pump and focused expression suggested relief but also determination. She had navigated the most unstable phase of the match and emerged stronger for it. With the early nerves shaken off, the second set began with a noticeably different energy. Gauff's serve improved immediately, finding its targets with greater precision and generating more free points. The double faults disappeared, replaced by confident first serves that set up aggressive follow-up shots. From the baseline, Gauff took greater control of the rallies. Her forehand, which had been tentative early on, now carried more pace and depth, pushing her opponent well behind the baseline. She began mixing in higher margin shots when needed, using topspin to create space before accelerating the pace at the right moment. The backhand remained solid and dependable, anchoring her game and allowing her to redirect the ball effectively. The physical demands of the match began to show on her opponent as Gauff's relentless movement forced increasingly difficult shots. Errors started to creep in, while Gauff's own consistency improved with each game. She stayed disciplined, avoiding unnecessary risks and maintaining a high level of focus. Her return games became more threatening, and it felt increasingly inevitable that a break would come. When that break finally arrived, it was the result of sustained pressure rather than a single moment of brilliance. Gauff constructed points patiently, extending rallies until an opening appeared. A deep return followed by a well-placed backhand down the line sealed the break and effectively shifted the match firmly into her control. The crowd responded enthusiastically, sensing that the contest was entering its final phase. With a lead secured, Gauff showed maturity beyond her years. Rather than rushing to the finish, she continued to play percentage tennis, making her opponent earn every point. Her serve remained steady, and her movement never dipped. Even when faced with minor resistance, she responded calmly, resetting between points and sticking to her plan. This composure reflected the growth she has shown over recent seasons, learning how to manage momentum and pressure on the biggest stages. As the match drew closer to its conclusion, Gauff's confidence was unmistakable. She stepped into the court more aggressively on returns, taking time away and keeping her opponent on the defensive. The rallies became shorter, with Gauff dictating play and controlling the tempo. When the final game arrived, she approached it with the same focus that had carried her through the earlier challenges. The match ended on a controlled, well-constructed point that summed up Gauff's performance. It was not a flashy finish, but it was effective and composed, reflecting her ability to execute under pressure. The handshake at the net was respectful, and Gauff acknowledged the crowd with a warm smile, fully aware that this opening round test had demanded both physical and mental strength. In her post-match reflections, Gauff spoke candidly about the early serve struggles, acknowledging that the first match of a Grand Slam often brings unique challenges. She emphasized the importance of staying mentally present and trusting her preparation, even when things do not go perfectly from the start. Her comments highlighted a player who understands that success at this level is not about perfection, but about problem-solving and resilience. This opening round victory carries significance beyond the scoreline. Early matches at Grand Slams can be deceptive, and many favorites have fallen by underestimating the difficulty of settling into the tournament environment. Gauff's ability to adapt, stay composed, and elevate her game as the match progressed sends a strong message about her readiness for the challenges ahead. For fans and analysts alike, this performance offered a clear reminder of Gauff's evolution. She is no longer defined solely by potential or promise, but by her ability to compete, adjust, and win under pressure. Her mental toughness, combined with her athleticism and growing tactical awareness, makes her one of the most formidable players in the draw. Looking ahead, Gauff will know that further improvements are needed, particularly in maintaining serve consistency from the opening point. The competition will only intensify as the tournament progresses, and margins will become increasingly fine. However, overcoming early adversity in the first round can serve as a valuable confidence booster, reinforcing belief and sharpening focus. As the Australian Open continues to unfold, all eyes will remain on Coco Gauff and how she builds on this start. If she can carry forward the resilience and adaptability shown in this match, she will be a serious threat deep into the tournament. One match at a time, one adjustment at a time, Gauff continues to write her story on the sport's biggest stages, and this opening round victory in Melbourne may well be remembered as the foundation of another memorable Grand Slam run.